I'm so glad that you're all on with us tonight. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day. You all know me, Debbie Berenson, and I'm excited to share my health story with you. And then we're going to hear from Amanda how her health is just improved so much. And then Andrea will follow up to give you a little more information on the awesome health product that we're talking about, which is just fruits and vegetables. So I have been a personal trainer for 18 years. And about 6 years ago, I got more involved in the nutrition side of health and wellness because somebody introduced me to whole food fruits and vegetables and explained to me what it can do to help your immune system. I was really interested in that because my oldest daughter, Stephanie, had digestive problems and skin issues and respiratory issues. And one of the things that we noticed when we first started eating Juice Plus is that her skin had cleared up. And that sounds crazy, but that happened in the first 3 weeks. And then about 3 months later, her digestive issues cleared up, which was amazing because she'd had those issues for many years. And it was just because she was eating what she was supposed to eat, the nutrition of the fruits and vegetables. And then 5 months later, I'll never forget it because she was just out of school in May. She came down with a cold. And when Stephanie came down with a cold, she always got bronchitis because she had asthma and her immune system was compromised with asthma, and it always just fell into her lungs. So she ended up with bronchitis all the time, which was scary because she's allergic to most antibiotics. So what do you do when your kid is allergic to antibiotics and gets her junior year of college, gets strep throat twice and bronchitis twice, and you're desperately trying to figure out, well, what can I do to help her so she doesn't have this issue anymore? So that's why we tried the Juice Plus. And I said to her, well, my first reaction was, well, we don't eat pills and capsules. But then when I learned what it was, I said, all right, it's just food. So let's try it. We've got nothing to lose. So when she did come down with that cold in May, everybody said to me, double up on the Juice Plus. You can do that because it's not toxic. It's just food. So we tripled up on it because I was so nervous and I didn't want to run antibiotics again. And she doused herself with whole food nutrition. And for the first time in years, she fought off the cold, and it was 3 days. And it was 6 years ago. None of us have been on antibiotics in my family since. And that's why I share my story. I shout it from the rooftops because if somebody hadn't shared it with me, then my family would not be as healthy as it is. And so I'm super excited for Amanda to share her experience because she's a theater kid, and like sports kids, they rehearse till late hours. They have tech weeks, and it's a lot on their system. Sorry about the dog. Okay, so go ahead, Amanda.
Hope the dog doesn't go crazy again. But yeah, so I was one of those kids who I always got sick. Like I would get terrible head colds throughout elementary school and throughout middle school until I started Juice Plus. And my head colds would be like a week and a half to 2 weeks. Like when I got sick, I got sick. And with theater, you really can't get sick. And because you need to be on, you need to be able to keep going. So the first year that I started Juice Plus, I was doing a production with a local theater company at the same time that I was doing a production with my middle school at the time. And I had a big part in that. So I really needed to stay healthy. And I was also preparing for my bat mitzvah. So there was a lot of opportunity to get sick, and I really couldn't afford to. And right around the time when I would start to feel myself getting sick, around tech week, it probably was, my mom told me double up because you can't get sick. And I did. And for the first time ever, I did not get sick for a tech week. And everyone around me was sick. I mean, this was a show, I think people were losing their voices. We were there late hours and I didn't get sick. So that was huge. And then I've been on it ever since. And a couple years ago, I took a school trip to Paris. And, you know, I was coming off of the winter season of theater, which has been in the past very intense. And it's already cold and flu season in the winter. And I was going to be in a foreign country without my family or anything for the first time ever. And of course, someone on the trip got sick and passed it to everyone. And knowing me, I was like, I can't get sick. I don't want to have to be like miserable for this trip. And so I doubled up, even when my roommate was sick. And I got it for one day, whereas most people were getting it for 4 or 5. So that was really kind of eye-opening. And then most recently was last year, my school did Mamma Mia for our fall production, and I played Donna, if you know any theater. But I had a lot of lines to learn, a lot of songs to learn, and I was also taking all honors classes and staying up till 2 a.m. every single night to get work done. And it was tech week, and our music director pulled me aside and said, "You're going to get sick." And I said, "I'm not getting sick." And he said, "Well, you need to get sleep," because he had overheard me talking to someone about how tired I was. And I said, "I'm not getting sick." And I was not just trying to manifest it. I knew I wasn't going to, because every single morning I was bringing a smoothie to school with the protein powder, which is 14 plant foods. So I was starting my day off with 14 plant foods in me before first period even started. At lunch, sometimes I would have more of the plant protein powder. It tasted like cookie dough. I would have it with like almond milk and chocolate chips. So I would have that with my lunch, and then I would have Juice Plus at night. And even though I was getting literally like 5 hours of sleep a night, I didn't get sick. So that's sort of my story in a nutshell about like how much it's changed my life, because I used to get sick all the time for tech week. And now I know that I have some resources to help me stay healthy.
Awesome. Thank you, Amanda. And now Andrea is going to go through some amazing slides to talk about exactly what Juice Plus is.
Sure. Hey guys, thanks so much for having me tonight. I'm really honored to be sharing this with you. But Deb, your story is powerful in that you are a fitness professional, and you've been in the fitness profession for 18 years. So you already understand what it means to be well physically. And I grew up as an athlete. My mom was a nurse. And Amanda, I love hearing you. It's so inspiring. I have 3 kids, 3 athletes, married a college athlete, grew up as an athlete. But the one thing that we were missing was the nutritional piece. And I thought we ate well, but I'm just going to ask you guys, I'm a certified health coach. I'm a mom of 3 kids, busy mom. But how many of you bit into a really ripe peach today? Like oozing, a peach that you would just, pick off the vine and you can smell it and taste it. Or how many of you had a watermelon that was just dripping with taste? Or let's see what else might not be in season in New England, right? So there's a lot of things out there. I'm going to pull up some slides too, because I want to share some of the education, but I wanted to give you that mindset of what's available to us right now. We're all doing the best we can. We're inspiring healthy living. We're trying to give some options for people. And I know Amanda and Deb had mentioned Juice Plus, and we're going to share with you what it is. But even thinking about what have you had today? How many colors have you had on your plate? When was the last time you had a really ripe, nutritious piece of fruit, vegetable, or a berry? We're in New England. How many snowstorms have we had? How's the produce that you have on your plate? How often are you getting it into your system? Are you getting the variety? And the reason we talk about the education is just to share a little bit about where we are now. And our society is unhealthy today. You can read the slide: heart disease, cancer, diabetes. Unfortunately, 1 in 5 children is obese. And what really spoke to me was that our children are more harmed by poor diet than by exposure to drugs, alcohol, and tobacco combined. And that didn't sit well with me. I'm a mom of 3 kids, as I mentioned, and I'm going to share my story a little bit as well. But it wasn't until I dove into the nutrition and started looking into our food supply and understanding what's really going on. We're doing the best we can, but there are so many toxins in our environment today, and we all know this. This isn't anything that we don't know. It's just that they've increased so much, and we can't really keep up with the overload. So our body's dealing with toxins on our skin, in our hair, prescription drugs, water contaminants, over-the-counter drugs, plastics. There's now microplastics, we're actually ingesting a credit card worth of plastics every year, and that's only increasing. And people are wearing masks, and there's microplastics in masks that we're ingesting, and fibers, and I mean, it could go on and on. But what's happening is, with our food supply decreasing, and you look at the quality of our food supply, many of my clients, I'll say, go to the perimeter of the grocery store. Don't even go into the middle, because there's a lot of processed food sitting on shelves in the middle. You can even read yourself the growth hormones and artificial colors and trans fats and pesticides, all of those things, emulsifiers. Broccoli can lose up to 50 to 80% of its nutrients before you purchase it. So as a mom, trying to do the best I can, coloring the plate of my 3 kids, morning, noon, and night, getting half their plate, fruits and vegetables, and living in New England or wherever we live. You could be in California, and your orange could be shipped from Florida. We have a distribution channel. You can see the packages in the image here. You can see the fact that they're injecting apples or whatever fruit, vegetable, or berry that is shown in this picture. It happens to be an apple. There's a lot of contaminants in our food so that it looks pretty and it doesn't decay when it sits on the shelf. It goes 1,500 miles in a plane or a train. It gets sitting in the grocery store, sit in a box for a while, then it's taken out and put on a shelf. We might come in and buy it. We might not. About 60 hands will touch it before someone picks it up. We bring it home, it sits on our shelf or goes in our fridge. Some things, maybe the berries might go bad. You might not even get them. Or the apple could sit there for a while. And I've done, looked into things, and you could have an apple that has been sitting for a year in a grocery store by the time it gets out onto the shelf. And that's not what we want. That's not fresh, whole food, right? But that's just the way our society has evolved, because we've technologically advanced, but our food supply has taken a bit of a hit over the years. So what can we do to be healthier? Obviously, we talk about exercise. Exercising and moving in the body actually stimulates the epithelial, the lining in your bloodstream, so that it releases natural medicines in your own body. We actually make our own medicine. And the way to do that is through movement and adding a lot of plants to the diet. Drinking water, we need to be drinking half our body weight in ounces of water as adults and our full body weight in ounces as kids. Sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night, that's when we give our liver a chance to detox. So all of those things that you saw that we might be ingesting from the grocery store or putting on our skin or just going outside. I go for a walk every day, and I'm out, I walk for 6 miles, and I try to get away so I can breathe in the fresh air, and it never fails. A big truck goes by and blows smog in my face. And I'm like, okay, I just used up all the antioxidants for the day here as I'm trying to breathe. So our body's trying to process all that, and it does that at night when we're sleeping. So we want to use safer products, eat real food, which is what we're going to talk about. And stress is huge too. And I just want to bring up, and kudos to you, Amanda, because you guys take on so much. You really do. And I have a daughter who's a freshman in college, and I'll get into a little bit about what we do with her too. But we're focusing on fruits and vegetables because we know good nutrition will prevent 75% of chronic disease. And why do we want so many fruits and vegetables? One, the quality is decreasing, but it's the antioxidants that's found in fruits and vegetables that helps reduce oxidation in the body. What's oxidation? Anything that attacks our DNA. It's who we are. So if you think of a rusty car and you look at the apple, when you slice an apple, it's white, it's clean, it's bright, and looks really healthy, right? But as it ages, or as the oxygen hits it, it starts aging and turning brown and gets rusty. That's what happens in a car. If you don't put gas in the car, it'll go with gas in the car for a long time. But if you don't put oil in the engine, it will eventually break down. And that's what's going inside of our body when we take in oxygen, or if we had a stressful day or didn't eat our fruits and vegetables that day or didn't get enough sleep. Stress really can do a number on us. So we want to make sure we get in as many plants as we can to help prevent that inflammation, that oxidation, the attacking of our DNA, and the rusting from the inside out. We want to look graceful and beautiful as we age. We want to keep our DNA intact. We don't want to get old and rusty and break down. So it's not that fruits and vegetables are good for us, it's that they're so good for us that they can save our life. And we talked a little bit about the distribution channel, which is why we need to eat 7 to 13 servings a day. For athletes, it's 16 to 20. And why, you would say, why do you need to eat so many? You know, in the past, we used to think those green bananas were getting more ripe as they turn yellow, because they do. Things will appear to ripen, but they're decreasing in nutritional quality. So they get to a certain point and then they're picked, but they haven't reached their nutritional peak. So that's an issue with our food supply. So we pick the apple prior to it ripening on the vine, so it stays nice and can sit on the shelf, but it hasn't reached the nutritional peak, which is what helps us prevent disease and keeps us healthy. So our nutritional density has gone down, and then it's sitting on shelves, and we have to, by the time we get it at home and all of that. So you have to eat 8 oranges today to get the same vitamin C you would get in 1 orange from 20 years ago. And it's no one's fault. It's just the way things have evolved, and people aren't getting enough of the servings that they need, and they're not getting enough of the variety. So my story really kicks in. A lot of people turn to multivitamins, and they never really made sense to me, but my pediatrician recommended them. I never took vitamins. They didn't sit well with me, but my pediatrician recommended I give them to my kids. And what happened was, my middle son, I have 3 kids, a daughter and 2 boys, he overdosed on isolated vitamin supplements. And I didn't even know that that was something that could happen. But I do know now that there's a poison control number on vitamins, a warning label, and a child safety law. And, you know, that happened under my watch, and I thought I was doing right by him, and he's okay. But it was a scary aha moment for me. So we just got rid of vitamins, the isolated vitamins, and I said, I'm going to chop and slice and see if I can get as many fruits and vegetables with the vitamins, minerals intact in their diet every day. 1, we live in New England, food is seasonal. 2, to get it raw and try and get them to eat raw broccoli at breakfast. My son wouldn't even eat cooked broccoli. He would gag and cry, and I felt like a really stressed out mom, because I knew that there was a huge gap there. They were eating the same things. They would eat the banana and the orange and the grapefruit, or the berries and the clementine, but they weren't eating the kale and the spinach and the beets and the cauliflower every single day, 365 days a year. They weren't getting that in. They would have a little here and a little there, but not all in one day. And I knew that's what we were missing. So one day I walked into my gym, a boxing gym that I had worked out at for 10 years. And there were a lot of things that came through the gym, and Deb knows this too. And for me, I wanted nutritional support, and I needed to see, after what happened to my son, and I was doing research, I wanted to see research behind the product, and I wanted to make sure it was clean and safe, that there were no poison control numbers or warning labels. You couldn't overdose. It was just something that the body could absorb and know what to do with. And lo and behold, this was Juice Plus. And it's basically what it is. It's a salad bar in a capsule. But what's so amazing about it is, this is what you're eating every day. So there's no way. I've never had currants in my house or bought currants, not even seasonally. I haven't even seen currants at a farmer's market, actually. But to eat all of these plants raw every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, this is our insurance policy, our nutritional safety belt. And this is the reason why we've invested in food, and we no longer invest in sick care. That pineapple with the crown is thrown in whole. So you're eating that peach, the apple, the core of the broccoli, everything, the cabbage, the lemon peel. It's washed with water. It's allowed to ripen on the vine, so it reaches that nutritional peak. Our cherries are grown in Brazil, because we have specific requirements. There's a higher nutritional content in the darker pigmented cherries. We grow broccoli, bitter broccoli, very specific for Juice Plus, that nobody would want to buy because the taste is so bitter, but there's more nutritional value in it. And the color of the rainbow, this was created for someone that was dying of cancer by an herbalist who studied and researched all of the phytonutrients and all of the colors and what they do in the human body. And so everything's crushed whole. It's washed with water, crushed whole, and dehydrated and put into a powder form. So it's kind of like the Jetsons. If I'm dating myself, there's a cartoon where they eat their food in capsules. But I remember thinking, how is that possible? How can you get food in a capsule? It doesn't even make sense, right? Well, fruits and vegetables are 90% water. When you dehydrate them, you take the sugar in the water and is removed, you're left with the plant nutrients. You're left with the skins and the seeds and the peels and the cores. And that's what this is. So when Amanda says she has a Juice Plus at night, she's getting 30 plants before she goes to bed and her liver starts working on detoxing. And then when she wakes up in the morning and she has her shake, she's getting 14 more plants there with a lot of fiber to wake up and fill her gut with prebiotic fiber. Omegas are absolutely essential for the human body, and we don't make them. We have to get them from an outside source. And a lot of people will turn to fish oil, but what we're learning is that one, it's not sustainable. 1 ounce of, in order to get 1 ounce of fish oil, you need 5 pounds of fish. So that's depleting the oceans, but we're also having to deal with contamination in our oceans, like plastics and other things that run off, like we saw on that first slide. A lot of contaminants now that we have to worry about in our fish. Where we grow our own algae, and we've realized that you don't get your omegas from fish, you actually get them from the algae that the fish eat. And the sea buckthorn berry is absolutely one of the most incredible berries on the planet, and this is grown in Nepal. Algal oil, pomegranate seed oil, tomato seed oil, safflower, and raspberry seed. They're cold pressed oil, and it's 100% plant based, but it's a full spectrum omega. So you're getting omega 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. So when you talk about skin and hair and nails and brain health and keeping your cells, your DNA really soft so that they can absorb nutrients and detox and get rid of the trash, this is a brilliant way to do that with our omegas and our Juice Plus. And then this is the slide Amanda was talking about, where she has her nutritional beverage in the morning. My kids have this every morning, my husband and I, before when we wake up. It's the first thing we have with our Juice Plus and our omegas. And what's so amazing about this is it's vegan, but it has a vegan source of vitamin D in it, which is a mushroom powder. And it's prebiotic fiber. So it's going to fill up your gut with good. It's basically fertilizing your gut for giving food to the good bacteria that's in your gut living there to keep it strong, healthy, and robust. And it's got a lot of fiber in it. So it's delicious, it's low glycemic, and it keeps your blood sugar stable. So knowing, like Amanda's saying, she doesn't have a lot of time to eat, when you stabilize your blood sugar, you're satiated, your brain is intact, you're thinking well, you're on point to remember all those lines and everything that you're studying for theater. It's the reason why that energy, you can keep going. When you don't have when you eat something and your blood sugar crashes, that's when you have trouble with remembering, and that's when you crave things that aren't good for you. You might grab the sugary snack or have the fast food, right? So this is going to keep you satiated, and we make protein bites with these as well. And can't even. I just went last night to open the tray of them. They're already gone. I have 2 boys in the house right now that are just inhaling them. But what I love about it is it's food. So my daughter's dream, I know yours, theater and doing all of these things. My daughter was an equestrian, was riding horses since she was 5 years old. And her dream was to get into a Division I equestrian program. And we had been flooding her body for 10 years with this nutrition, but she had an extreme accident where her horse kicked her arm and just severed her arm in half. Basically, the skin was intact, but emergency surgery. And if she wasn't able to recover in time, she would have missed the ability to get back on and train in order to be seen by coaches. And long story short, we tripled her up, brought her shakes into the hospital with her salads, and she ended up cutting her recovery time in half. And she's now on a Division I equestrian program, was able to realize her dream. And what I think is so important about what you said, Amanda, and is you're not missing your tryout if you're not sick. And if you are, or you're not feeling well, you can't perform that day, somebody else will, right? So it's, you're putting all this time and energy into your passion. And I have 2 boys that play football and basketball, and my son has big goals to play in college. And it's the kids that are injured, can't get back from an injury, that might miss out that day on that tryout. Or if you did have strep throat and you weren't performing your best, right? So we want to be at our best so we can be passionate about what we're doing, and we don't have to miss. And if we do, we recover faster. So we feel better, we can perform better, all of those things. My daughter is in Tennessee. We took her off the meal plan within 3 weeks of her being away in college. It's horrible. She's in a small town in Tennessee and it's all fast food. So we took her off the meal plan. The meal plan wasn't any good. And she has her Juice Plus. She sends me pictures of what she's eating. And she's on a team where she has to get up at 5 a.m. and work out. She has to practice. She has to jump set. She has to spend all day supporting her teammates. And then she has to ride, compete, and do her homework academically. So she'll make a shake in the morning. She'll make a shake at night. She goes and actually buys her food and cooks for herself. I mean, it's a lot, but she knows that she needs to be nutritionally fit if she's going to keep up with that kind of a schedule. It's food. It's not a vitamin. It has a nutrition label, non-GMO. You can read the certification. What I loved was the NSF certification. That's what, once the produce is dried and in a powder form, a third-party company comes in and tests it for herbicides, pesticides, molds, mildews. That was really important to me because I try and buy organic if I can. And if you can't get organic, we try and wash it and clean it, right? Because of pesticides on it. But this is a higher standard than organic. So it's grown sustainably and ethically. It doesn't need to be doused in chemicals. It doesn't have to look pretty in a store. It's crushed whole, and then they test it again just in case something blew into the field. So this is the cleanest food in my home. And it's the most researched. That was really important to me too. I won't get into all the studies, but it's peer-reviewed journals that you can't even buy your way into. And they just publish whatever the result is, and the results have been amazing. You can even see it's been proven to. What I love is it's absorbed. It gets absorbed by the body because it's food and it's bioavailable. Unlike a multivitamin, which in my son's case was toxic, a lot of people end up peeing out They have this expensive urine because of vitamins that they might be eating that might not be able to be absorbed by the body. But immune support is huge. Talking about being sick and what's going on in the world right now, we want to make sure our immune support is there, our lung function is there, skin and gums. Gums are the gateway to our health. So you can see all of the things that it's been proven to do, which is amazing. And there's nothing else available any place in the world with or without a prescription that has been clinically proven. Clinical means the studies have been done on humans to do what Juice Plus has been proven to do. And Dr. Richard Du Bois worked with AIDS patients, and he was best doctor voted by his peers 8 years in a row if you had AIDS or HIV. And he was noticed that his AIDS patients had a better recovery and did better when they had better nutritional support. So when someone shared Juice Plus with him, he started sharing it with all his patients. What's awesome is we have a Family Healthy Starts program. If an adult orders, you can sponsor a child for up to 4 years. So I sponsored my daughter, my husband sponsored my son with his order, and then my parents sponsored my third child. And all of these things changed. My kids prior to this were at the doctor's, co-pays, flus, strep throat, colds, viruses. And once we started, and I'm not going to say I will say that they have not been to the doctor in 10 years, only well checks. Except for this year, my daughter who went away to college because the food her body just couldn't handle the food that she was eating there. So that was the first time all 3 of my kids, one of them went to the doctors in 10 years. And it was when she came back from college. So there's a lot of stress when you're trying to get all that done too. So the recovery piece is there. And it's just been so amazing to invest in well care and not have to go invest in sick care. If you love the idea of fruits and vegetables, we have a tower garden to grow your own food. I have one right in front of me, which is why the light's so bright. I have one in my basement. I grow my greens year round for my smoothies and my celery to put in a juicer. It's so sustainable. If you love the idea of gardening and having control over where your food comes from, you can ask more about the tower garden, which we love. And then I'll just stop the share now because the cost part is one of my favorite parts because you can get a family on Juice Plus for less than a cup of Starbucks coffee. You could get 2 people, a mother and a child. Child's for free, and you're eating 30 plants getting that in your diet for a cup of coffee. So it's just so economical for that reason alone when you compare it to organic produce or any fruit, vegetables, and berries that you can get at the store. So at this point, I will stop my story and let Deb and Amanda close. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to stick around and chat with you guys. Feel free to ask now here, or you can always ask Deb and Amanda on your own as well. But it was so nice to be able to share my story tonight. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, Andrea, and thank you, Amanda, and thank you all, the rest of you, for coming and just participating in this with us. And I love to share. It's so funny, when I started training people, I did it because I like to help people feel better and be stronger about themselves. But I realized when I started the nutrition end that it was really great to help people a couple of hours a week. But when I introduce people to Juice Plus and they get that nutrition in them, I feel like I'm helping them 24/7. And it's just very powerful to be able to share that information with people, and after feeling the results in my household, because you just want everybody to have that. So if anybody has any questions, please let me know, or let Amanda know. And again, thanks for coming on. I know it's a long day, and thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
Does anyone have any questions?